As the leader of the Booner Pat, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff and Booner. It is Wednesday, November 12th. It's day of the doc. John Maakaron joining the show on a perfect time as well because Michigan State, man. The doc's joining at a perfect time. He's a Spartan man, and Michigan State's got themselves into a tricky predicament. All right, so we will discuss that. We'll discuss the Lions getting healthier because some players have returned to practice this week. We'll talk some Lions Eagles, and then we'll be joined by the DOC. Booner's got questions for me and the people at 8:30, so it should be a packed show today, Boone.
Yeah, it should be fun, man. Interesting day today. Dan Campbell spoke to the media. I haven't actually been able to get around. A lot of the players talk to the media, so thankfully we have the doc on who was in attendance today. So we'll be able to kind of hear a lot from him in regards to kind of some players and some things like that. The Michigan State stuff, Pistons are playing right now. They're literally out like 10 guys and they're up 14 versus the Bulls right now. So that's a big time for them. The new court too. I don't know if you've seen this new court that they have for City Edition.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Unreal. Yeah, that's one of the best courts I've seen, I think.
Yeah, in that game, Dennis Jenkins, by the way, 16 points going into halftime. He's continuing. Yeah. He's on a hot streak right now. He's playing really good ball.
He's playing himself into a rotation, which is cool. Like that's typically what you see if guys get hurt, who steps up. You know, you have a chance to get yourself more minutes when those starters do get back. So maybe he'll be like a 7th, 8th man when the full rotation's back.
Yep, we have in that game currently, Duncan Robinson leads the team in points. He's got 17, 5 of 7 from 3. Paul Reed.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, Duncan just hitting threes, man. That's what he does. Ron Holland's really the only guy out there that gets significant minutes. But, yeah, the Pistons are up, like you said. They're up, 13 right now going into the half, basically. So they have 65 points.
65-52 right now. It's about 10 seconds left of the half. So we'll see what happens here. That's incredible, though, that they're figuring out a way to win it without their starters. If you're the Bulls, that has to be a little depressing.
It's not even just their starters. It's like 6 of it. It's like 6 of their 10-player rotation, 9-player rotation. They got they literally have, I think the only guys that play any minutes is Ron Holland, Duncan Robinson, and Dennis Jenkins will be. I think but that's really all they got. I mean, they have a bunch of dudes like Wendell Moore's playing. I remember him at Duke. Wendell Moore is coming off the bench playing. So shout out to the Pistons. But let's get into it. At least the MSU stuff before we talk more Lions Eagles. And we have by the way, Tarek Scooble's agent, Scott Boras. He had a mouthful today. I don't know what he was talking about. It was an interesting comment.
I've never heard an agent say something to what he.
Oh, it's actually right before the show. Tarek Scooble, back to back.
Cy Young winner. Congrats, man. We all knew that was going to happen, but congrats to him.
Officially. Which, back to back, it's perfect timing. I mean, as we're going to talk about what his agent said today, and the Tigers trying to re-sign this man, he wins another Cy Young award, which we will talk about. But let's get into this Michigan State stuff because I saw the tweet came out. Ross Dellinger put it out, and he said the NCAA announces that it has reached an agreement with Michigan State for recruiting rules violations under former coach Mel Tucker. Spartans agreed to several recruiting penalties and a vacating a couple wins. Several show cause orders for those involved, including Tucker.
3-year show cause.
So basically, from what I've gathered, what we've discussed, they played some ineligible players and they talked to the NCAA. And they came up with a punishment. I don't know what they didn't really fight it. They just essentially agreed and said, yep, that's on us. And they got their punishment for it. But now I love when this stuff happens, Boone, because whenever stuff like this happens to Michigan State or Michigan, there's just an uproar of both fan bases arguing. And today you're seeing more of it with Michigan State and Mike Valenti and shout out to my guy Rico Beard going at Michigan. I mean, it's just, and this is what happens now. It's like they're comparing punishments and different things. I know you're a Michigan fan. What did you kind of make of this coming out today and the people talking, comparing both situations?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Rico thing. I just put the tweet out where him and Mike Valeni, which I think, listen, Mike Valeni, he is actually pretty fair when it comes to stuff. Like he went at Michigan really hard. And at the beginning of this as well, he goes like, hey, if we cheated, and we sucked. And we were really bad at cheating. Which is like, yeah, that's actually fair. We're on the other side. Rico's over there. I put the tweet out, I don't know, the video of Rico being like, the only reason we cheated was because we really care. Or the reason we're in trouble and getting hit with this penalty is because we really care. We reported ourselves. Like, I don't know, trying to spin it into that's a little weird, in my opinion. Listen, and I was texting the doc today. He's going to be on. We're probably going to talk to him about it. Like, Keys to Wisdom just put it in the chat. Like, everybody cheats. And this is what I'll say about the people who want to be like, well, Michigan didn't get any vacated wins, but Michigan State did. I can make this very simple for the people. Michigan did not play any ineligible players. They obviously cheated in a way that no one ever has and no one's gotten caught for. And it was kind of a weird scenario. And they didn't play ineligible players, but they did things potentially maybe to have an advantage to win, correct? Like, that's kind of what it was. And to be able to vacate wins, one of the biggest ways that you can get vacated wins is if you are playing an ineligible player. Like, that is one of the biggest things. And I think that's where people need to today on Twitter and the world, like, need to be able to separate a little bit. Like, Michigan State played ineligible players, Michigan did not, right? There's a difference in that. Whether you think the Michigan, what they did was worse or not, right? Like, that's just in the rule books of the NCAA. It might be a bad rule book, it might not be. But at the end of the day, like, that's just what the rules are. And I know, like, shout out Griffin, he had texted us and he was like asking about it. He was like, well, didn't the NCAA said they're not going to vacate wins because they don't want to affect this year's team? They said that they did not want to have a postseason ban on the Michigan team because they didn't want this, athletes now to get affected by something that happened in the past, which, okay, that's fair. This is so specific because, Jeff, I didn't think about this until right before the show, but when I was at SVSU, and anyone can look this up, like, this was on when I was at SVSU, this was on every single news article, everyone posted it. The exact same thing happened at SVSU when I was there in 2018. Yep. From 2014 to 2018, when I was at SVSU, I was there a little after, or I was there from 2015 to a little on. My freshman and sophomore year, when I was working and coaching with the basketball team, we won Midwest Region NCAA, went to essentially the Final Four. We won GLIAC championships. We won, 30 games a year for a couple of years. The SVSU got hit with a violation from the NCAA, not just the basketball program. Almost, I think it was like 9 programs at SVSU got hit with over like 300 vacated games. Every single game that I coached my first 2 years there, all the championships that we had at SVSU when I was there, and I told you this, Jeff, we got trophies, like everything, regional trophies, GLIAC trophies. We put banners up in the gym. My 3rd year there, guess what we had to do? We got hit because we had players playing that were ineligible because of compliance and paperwork and different things that was not done correctly. Who does that fall on at the end of the day? It's not on the NCAA. Like, that's on, 1, probably the compliance department. That's 2, that's on the coaches, right? Like, making sure everything's getting done the correct way. That's on your program. And we had to remove at SVSU, we had to turn in every single trophy that we ever got those first 3 years I was there. We turned every trophy into the NCAA, into the GLIAC. We had to remove every banner we had. And I mean, I lost 60 wins on my coaching record as an assistant. And you could ask anyone there, like, that was one of the worst things when we were all there. And part of those championship teams, you're like, what's happening? Luckily for Michigan State, they only had 15 wins to vacate, like, in a 3-year span. Like, they didn't have anything to vacate. There was nothing meaningful to vacate. So 1, it's not that big of a deal because you didn't win anything in those 3 years. So, like, what does it matter? 2, the bottom line is just, like, that's just the NCAA rules. Like, you're not the only, like, Michigan State, like, you're not the only one that gets hit with those. D2 schools get hit with that. D3 schools. D1 schools, like, this happens. Like, if you do paperwork wrong and you're recruiting and you don't have guys that are going through the correct compliance and all these different things, guess what's going to happen? You're going to become ineligible. And if you're playing and you don't do the correct paperwork or you don't go about it the right way, you're going to get hit with that, whether they turn themselves in or not. SVSU, They found all of these things over those years, and guess what SVSU did? Instead of getting caught by the NCAA, they turned themselves in and they said, hey, we messed this up the last 5 years, and got hit with the 4-year probation, got hit with 300 plus vacated wins, and got hit with you couldn't host any NCAA events, postseason events for like a year or two. Like, you get hit with that, and that's what MSU got hit with today. So, like, the only thing I just don't like, it's like people, I get it. Like, if you think Michigan's, what they did was worse, in the rule book, like, it's pretty strict. Like, hey, if you play ineligible players, those wins get vacated. That's what happened at SVSU. That's what happened at Michigan State. Like, I think that's pretty clear in my mind. I hope I explained that well too.
Yeah, do you want me to play the clip of Rico that you're referencing? So people,
yeah, we can. I just listen. I get it. Like, I can understand why Michigan State fans are frustrated that we were supposed to, like, Michigan was supposed to get the hammer, and within months later, Michigan State technically gets the hammer and gets the vacated wins. It's just the way it is, and it's what you did. Like, it has nothing to do with the severity, I guess. It's just like in the rule book, if you play players that are ineligible and you don't have, like, that's just what it is, man. And they tried, like, the NCAA, I think, tried to vacate wins, and they literally said in their investigation, we did not vacate wins because no players ineligible played, and that is the terms of vacating wins. So,
yeah, here's the clip of here. Let me play this. So this is Mike Valenti's reaction to it, and it was essentially and Rico that you got the clip from. I'll just play both because this is bad. And then obviously for people that don't know, living under a rock, they're both. Mike Valenti and Rico Beard are both big State guys, so they reacted to this news and kind of gave their take. But here's what they said.
What the hell did State even do? And how did we end up with a bigger penalty than U of M? If we cheated, we sure suck at it. There's no anger. Like, I don't care. If State did something wrong, punish them. That's always been my deal. I think the laughable nature of it is this breathless reporting and, oh, there's going to be wins vacated. You had the largest on-field cheating scandal. We're talking hard drives, laptops, funding, all of it.
Spyware.
What did State do?
They provided impermissible recruiting inducements and benefits.
We're living in a time now. I've got Georgia paying high school kids $20,000 a month to stay committed. And at the very same time, that's not a violation, but whatever this bum Mel Tucker hired is.
You want to know why I believe you get hit hard with penalties like that? When you care. When you actually show up to the NCAA and say, we're sorry, here's what we did wrong. Because what I've seen in the past few years, if you just say, yeah, we did it and I'm busy right now. We need to talk to you. Yeah, I'll get to you. Okay, you really need to meet with us? Sure.
That's where I actually give Michigan credit, is they just so brazenly farted in.
You, and here's a middle finger.
They had drunken Taco Bell and then released the gaseous emissions in the face of the NCAA, and it worked. Punish State, bury him into the ground, put him in Middle Earth. I don't care.
So I guess the Kenneth Walker game doesn't count anymore.
Fine. I don't care.
Because Michigan State cares. And
the Michigan State cares, bro.
Yeah, they care. So they turn themselves in. Like, yeah, cool, awesome. They did it like a whole regime later. You know, it's just like, all right, dude, like, that was your last regime. You did it. I don't know. I get, like, I think they said the wrong thing. Obviously, it's like something with recruiting and benefits, but I do actually think, I'm pretty sure it was just, I'm sure my guess, and I don't know the details, so I don't want to like lock it in, but my guess is just compliance wise, there was, recruiting things that happened, and as well as like some players weren't supposed to be playing. Maybe, whether they meant to or not, it's a penalty, right? Like, it's against the rules. Like, if Michigan State fans want to complain and be mad about it, like, guess what? I would love to have the championships back that we had at SVSU. I would love to have the 60-something wins back, right? Like, I would love it. Like, I would love to go into the gym on Alumni Weekend this year and see the banner that we won, the Midwest region. I would love that. But guess what? Someone along the way messed up their job, and I'm sure at SVSU they got fired and let go, or something happened. And guess what happened? Like, you hire someone new and you do it better. That's what happened probably at Michigan State. Someone messed it up along the way. My problem was, I texted Griffin this today, like, and he had kind of agreed too. And he was like, it's probably Mel Tucker's staff. You have that big of a school. Like, you should not have a compliance or a recruiting or some sort of issue. If you're that big of a school, like, you just should not. You have so much money. SVSU, they had 20 different sports in like 40 teams because of guys and girls. They had one compliance director. One out of like 40 teams. Like, Michigan State, you're telling me that they probably have like 10 compliance people for just the football team.
Right.
So it's like, how does something like that slip through with recruiting or compliance or whatever it is?
Question. Yeah, that's the bigger question.
So it's like, what can you be mad at? It's like at Michigan. How did Jim Harbaugh let this slip through the cracks if he didn't really know about it? Obviously, he might have, and that's why he got his hit. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're in charge of the program, does it like piss off Michigan fans that was going on and some people knew about it? Yeah, it did. So it's like, for Michigan State, that happened. It slipped through the cracks. Someone messed up their job. How does leadership allow that to happen when you have a million compliance and recruiting people in those spots?
That's where I think coaches know. Like, I think on that level, maybe so. Maybe Mel Tucker didn't know, but I do believe Jim Harbaugh knew. So I would like to think that Mel, to some extent, maybe knew. It's hard when you know everything that's going on. You're the head coach. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. Sometimes you have instances like your instance at SVSU where you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not saying it can't happen.
We got hit with blindside, man. That was one of the toughest weeks ever. I was like, we were all distraught about that.
Like that vacated, and you guys have you won. I mean, it's a lot different. So yeah, that's fair.
Shout out to Ferris. They got the championship after it got vacated. It went to them.
That's gotta be the worst.
We had to send them the trophy. How crazy is that? We had to send them the Midwest trophy because we beat them in the finals and we beat them in the GLIAC regular season. So we had to send it to them because they were second place.
Well, I did want to show off the practice report today. It's a lengthy one, but there's a lot of context within the practice report. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on in this practice report, but just bear with me here because when you look at it, you're like, holy mother. There's a lot of dudes on here. All right, there's a lot of dudes on here. It
is so packed.
You see Taron Arnold, Aiden, Kerby, Sam, Panay, Vaki, you see all these dudes. But here's the thing let's break this down. Let's look at the no practice first. TA's in concussion protocol. All right. So I think that's expected. I don't know if he's probably not going to suit up this week, I would imagine, but he could. But that one's not surprising. Aiden's elbow popped up, and he clarified that he has no intention of missing that game against the Eagles. So it's not something to worry about. So Aiden's more just a precautionary rest, dealing with something I believe is more minor. Kerby Joseph did not practice. Dan talked about him in his press conference, which I have the clip I can play after this. Sam Laporta back, no practice. I think he plays. I think it's more precautionary. Same with Panay Sewell. I think ankle, no practice. You guys know it. Panay, he's been banged up. I think they're just doing the man some. They're doing him. They're trying to help out the guy a little bit, give him some rest. Sione Vaki, ankle, that one's not surprising. I don't even know what's going on with Sione Vaki. He's just getting hurt every single week, so I don't even have a comment on that. Brock Wright, ankle, I think he'll play as well. Taylor Decker, we know how that goes. The big news, though, Boone, Marcus Davenport is back at practice.
How about that? Big Dav.
Big Dav back.
The port is back.
The ports are open. Davenport's back, man.
Ports are open.
Hey, Miles Frazier at practice, limited fashion. That's good. He's at least participating. Graham, limited practice. That's great news. Pat O'Connor, Josh Paschal.
Wait, time out. Graham, good news. I didn't even know he was supposed to be on the practice report. Why is he on?
He went down in the game against the Commanders.
Didn't he go back in, though, or no?
He did, but this is probably more rest of just kind of like probably just getting back.
Good news then.
If he didn't practice at all, I'd probably be a little more worried because he already got injured. But limited, that's fine. Okay, that's not bad. Josh Paschal's back. Jacob Saylor's limited practice. DJ Reed, limited practice. DJ Reed. So
wait a sec. Can you scroll down a little?
Yes, and then you see. I don't know if you could see it if it shows up. Yeah, Malcolm
full
Rodriguez.
practice.
Full practice.
Rodrigo, let's go, Malcolm Rodriguez, bro. I'm so juiced to see him play football again. Rodrigo's so fun to watch, man.
Handful of dudes. You got you got Josh, Malcolm, Marcus Davenport, DJ Reed, and Miles Frazier obviously participating, but we knew that. So you have like four, and I know. Although they didn't make a move, and it's like, okay, it's whatever. We're past it. The good news is they are getting dudes back, especially on defense. Like Marcus Davenport's going to play. He's going to take some snaps away from guys like Tyler Lacey. Love Tyler Lacey. I think he's a very solid depth piece. Davenport's clearly better, so he'll be playing. Josh Paschal probably taking that like Tyrus Wheat role, or helping out. Like, so you're upgrading positions. DJ Reed's going to come back. You won't have to see Rock Yassin as much, even though he's actually not played too bad. So you'll have DJ Reed. I don't know what they're going to do. The biggest question for me is Amik Robertson. They're not really using nickel that much this year. So, we talked about it today with on Lions Collective. I don't know. I think they're utilizing nickel like 30% of the time this year, which is like one of the lowest in the league. I don't know if Amik coming back maybe alters that. Maybe they use more nickel, because they had this problem before DJ Reed went down where they were trying to get Amik more on the field, and now DJ Reed's coming back. So I don't know what goes on there. And then Malcolm Rodriguez will probably be like more of a just good depth piece at linebacker. I don't know how much he'll be playing initially, but the big one to me is Miles Frazier. Eventually, he can slide right into a starting role if he's good enough. But yeah,
I do think. Also, shout out Ahmed's father in the chat, Ahmed Hassan. He put the chat in there earlier. I appreciate. He said some kind words about the boys. Appreciate that. With this practice report, can you pull it up one more time? Like, I do think there's two sides of this, like two positives. One is, well, not two positives. There's a negative and a positive. The negatives is all these guys like Hutch, Kerby, Sam, Penny, like those, and Terrion. Like, that's tough to see a lot of those guys no practice. I know it's early in the week. That just means that these guys are dealing with stuff, right? Like Sam Laporta just out of nowhere. Hutch out of nowhere. I know we knew Panay was going through some stuff, but he was kind of shoulder, and then all of a sudden an ankle pops up, right? So I think that's like the first half of this whole thing. But I think there's like the big positive out of this, like you said, like the fact that you have all these guys that are now back at practice. You have Miles Frazier, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, DJ Reed, and Malcolm Rodriguez. Like, I think those guys, Marcus Davenport and Josh Pascal, like you're about to add, and listen, I was listening to just probably about 5 minutes of your Lions Collective show tonight, and Justin Rogers brought up such a good point to where a lot of people were pushing for, trade deadline acquisitions and all these different things. And I think one of the best things about it that he said is like, this is your trade deadline. Like, you just went 8 weeks essentially without most of these guys. Yep. Now all of a sudden you're about to get Marcus Davenport and Josh Pascal on a defensive line that has not been that bad, right? Like, there have been games for sure you're like, need more pressure. Like, we need some help. We just need to get more, to the quarterback a few more times. I know they're higher in sacks, pass rush win rate a little lower. Run defense has struggled at times. So to get a guy like Josh Pascal, who's really good in run defense on that D line, and same with Marcus Davenport, that's huge. Like that is essentially like Justin Rogers said today, like it's essentially trade deadline acquisitions on the D line. You've gone 8 or 9 weeks with what you have now. You're adding 2 pieces, and then even maybe in the future, you get Ahmed Hassan to kind of get into that next spot there. The next part of this as well, I think the Miles Frazier one's massive too, because I actually do think that Miles Frazier in the next 4 or 5 weeks, let him develop, let him get into this offense, let him get into shape. I think he's good enough to play. I truly do think he's like Christian Mahogany of last year, to where if you need him, he can go. And he could be left tackle, left guard, whatever you need. And then the last part, added on top, the DJ Reed stuff and the Malcolm Rodriguez. Like, those are just 2 more pieces on this defense you're about to add. Like the DJ Reed thing, man, you need corner help. Like, you've been going through it with the corners. With injuries, guys like Terrion in the concussion protocol. Obviously, DJ Reed's not going to go this week, but in the future, like if you can have him by the time you get to Los Angeles versus that Rams game or even the Packers game, that he's such a good asset. Like that's probably, if you were going to rank your secondary players, you probably have Kerby, Brian Branch, and then it's DJ Reed. Like, he's that good. He's one of the top 15 corner in the NFL, right? So you brought him in to be your CB1. To get him back is massive. And then I think Rodrigo, I am interested, Jeff, to see the role of Rodrigo, because you do have a lot of linebackers who have played not just like decent snaps, but also like they've played well. Like Trevor Nowatzki has played very good. Zach Cunningham, he's hurt, but he played good in his time. So I'm interested to see how they do kind of go about using Rodrigo in specific moments. Whether that's defensively or special teams.
I was going to say special teams is where I'm excited to see it.
For sure. I
know he can definitely play, but they do need, I mean, we talked about this with their special teams. Like, he can give a boost on special teams for sure.
For sure. He's like a Grant Stewart type player.
Yeah. Oh, teams. Yeah.
And you're essentially just adding another Grant Stewart who's a special teams demon. And it's like you're adding another just absolute dog on special teams. That could change your whole special teams overnight like that.
Well, I will say the thing that I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is where we are. Okay. It's just a reality. The Lions are okay. There's a difference. I want to make sure this is very clear. Sacks versus pass rush win rate. Pass rush win rate. Say that 10 times. Pass rush win rate. There's a difference. I think they're not doing too bad with sacks, but they're last in the NFL in pass rush win rate right now. And obviously a majority of that's because of Aiden, because he wins a lot. I think for me,
they're dead last.
Yeah.
That's not good.
So for me, the thing I want to see is a little more from that perspective, because they're getting sacks because of really multiple reasons. But the biggest reason is because of their linebackers. Jack Campbell, 4 sacks. Derek Barnes, 4 sacks. And then you have, I think Anzalone, sack and a half. AQM has 6, Aiden has 7. So they're getting sacks. But I'm just talking about from winning one-on-one just from that perspective. They got to be a little better. I know they asked Dan about it, and Dan said, well, I'm not really paying attention to like all those type of stats. He goes, I felt like the pressure could have been a little better. But again, that's just that's just basically what that means. Pass rush win rate is just winning a one-on-one. You can technically lose it and get a sack. So it's like, I know it's very skewed. It doesn't mean you have the worst defensive line in the league. I want to make that very clear. It's not that you have the worst. It's just like, for example, some other teams like the Texans are like 8th because they have 2 great edges that win one-on-ones. But it's not the whole story. But that's something I want to see. I mean, they're facing a pretty good offensive line this week. Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. And they have a decent interior. We'll see. I think Cam Jurgens might be back this week. So Aiden with the injury, I know it's a minor injury, but he didn't, to be fair, I love Aiden. He didn't record a single stat besides a pass deflection against the Commanders. You're going to need Aiden from what that stretch of games.
Make plays.
We got to make some plays, man. We need Aiden this week for sure. For sure. So that's where I think Davenport, I say all that to say, I think Davenport will add some juice to that.
For sure.
To that edge spot, from a pass rush win rate perspective, sacks, run stopping, all that stuff.
I do think it's shocking. Like the pass rush win rate, that's not shocking that they're last, because what's one thing that they've like pushed on their defensive line that they said they need to get better at like all year? It's been winning their one-on-ones, and they've had issues with that. Obviously, like you said, outside of Hutch. So like the fact that they've had those issues, that's pretty telling, right? Like, yeah, you might be top half of the league in sacks, but you need guys like AQM and some of these other guys to win those one-on-ones, especially like what's his name that's been in there a ton. One more drawing a blank. Who's been coming in for AQM?
Oh, are you talking about Lacey,
like
Tyler Lacey?
Those are guys that like you're expecting to win one-on-ones. They probably aren't going to win every one, and that's why your pass rush win rate is a little lower. Now you do add Davenport and as well as like people hate it. Josh Pascal, like those are guys who can win those and who can kind of bring that up a little bit. And when those guys are starting to win it, guess what that means for Hutch? Just more sacks for a guy like Hutch and Ali McNeil and
that's what Dan said. He's like, Hutch is going to get doubled. We need someone else to we need someone else to step up.
But you haven't had those like higher level depth chart guys. You've had AQM and Lacey, which AQM was good. But like at the end of the day, skill wise, Davenport's probably better. I know people make fun of the injuries, but he's probably a better football player. We know that. And Josh Pascal is a decent football player as well, as much as people want to kind of comp him to that second round that he was picked in.
You know what I wanted to no, go on.
I would just say, I don't know if you heard it as well too. Did you hear the other day them talk about Tyreek?
No.
So there he was asked about Tyreek, and specifically someone in the media room asked about Roy Lopez, and then, hey, why has Roy Lopez been getting snaps? Tyreek, I don't know if you saw last game, his snap count was like significantly down. Like he didn't get a lot of snaps versus the Commanders. And Dan just kind of straight up said it and was just like, listen, like when Aleem came back, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, and you add in Roy Lopez, those guys have been the best and the most consistent over the last few weeks. And he said the issue with Tyreek is he's young and he's not as consistent as some of these other guys. Like he kind of just straight up was honest about it. So he was just like, he brought up like, hopefully like this pushes Tyreek, which I don't want to say it's like concerning because he is a rookie. I don't understand why in Detroit we just can't get one of those rookies that just right away are just absolute all pros. I guess we've had one like with Jameer and stuff, but I guess there's a little bit of struggles with Tyreek right now, competing against guys like Roy Lopez and Aleem and DJ Reader for snaps. And he's kind of been that fourth guy, and he hasn't really separated himself to kind of steal snaps from those three guys, which is a little, I would say personally, like First round pick. I would say it's
You
a little
can say it.
disappointing.
You can say
That's
it. I
disappointing.
think it's completely fair. I wouldn't say like obviously Aleem. Like, okay, Aleem comes back. It's like, okay, bro, scoot over. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But Roy Lopez I think Roy Lopez, I think he's playing some good football. I don't want to take anything about from Roy Lopez, but from like the perspective of Tyreek, you're a first round pick. You played for Ohio State. You were dominant at Ohio State. Clearly that's what Brad saw in him. He's got all these traits. It's okay to say he's been. Like,
the expectations were written very high. And I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that from fans. I'm saying that from like us on this show, Klotz, people who cover the draft that we've spoke with, from media, from coaches. Like, his expectations were extremely high going into this season. And I know, and people are like, well, why did you have him? He was a first round draft pick and you have a Super Bowl roster. Like, when you draft someone in the first round, like, go look at the Bills' first round draft pick, Maxwell Hairston. Like, he's making plays. Like, he got hurt and then he's played the last 3 games. He has 2 interceptions the last 3 games. Like, that's what you expect as a Super Bowl team for your first round draft pick to come in and make plays. And I was told by a lot of people he was going to come in and be an impact player right away, and he was going to be a starter instantly. And he's not only not a starter yet, he's lost the 3rd spot to Roy Lopez, a guy who's kind of been like, he's been good in the NFL, but he hasn't been like a full-time starter in this league. And Roy, I'll give him credit too, Jeff. Like, Roy Lopez has looked really good the last 2 games. He's looked really good. He's impressed. So yeah. I'm shocked, honestly. Like, I'm disappointed, I'd say is the word, and very underwhelmed so far from what Tyreek has kind of brought to the table over the last few weeks. First few weeks were good. Recently has been disappointing.
I think it's fair. Let's just, for example, like I'm not doing this to poo-poo on Tyreek. I'm just bringing it up. Like, he was drafted 28th. Maxwell Hairston was 30th. Jahad Campbell was 31st. Josh Simmons was 32nd. I mean, the top of the 2nd round. Carson
Those are all starters.
Yeah, Nick Emery has been really good. Like, TJ Sanders for the Bills. I don't know how much he's playing, but I know he plays, I think, a handful for the Bills. And I know
like Nick Emery has had an incredible rookie season too at safety.
So I think it's just maybe I don't even watch TJ Sanders, so I can't really comment on that. But overall, I think it's fair. I think it's not like he came from Old Dominion. I mean, he came from Ohio State, like a Big Ten. They won the national championship. So yeah. I think it's very fair to say that, to be honest with you. I mean, did you see Ahmed, what he said today in the locker room?
Oh, he's the best, bro. He said all 32 teams reached out.
So Nolan Bianchi, shout out to him. This is his video. But Ahmed was asked about kind of his journey. I mean, he was released, and then there was kind of a handshake agreement that he would return to the Lions eventually. We all kind of knew that, but here's him commenting on that situation.
Actually have offers from other teams the other end, or did your agent talk to these other teams?
I mean, my agent was handling all that. He was like, I know, he was telling me like, 31 was wanting you on the practice squad because I don't count as a player. So, and I was like, man, I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay here because people believe in me, and I'm going to give it all I got because loyalty is a big thing for me. And man, I just want to give it the best I got.
Actually have offers from other teams the other end, or
I mean,
talk to these other teams?
I mean, my agent was handling all that. He was like, I know, he was telling me like, 31.
Is this dude, he was raised. I mean, this guy is just, he's just
the loyalty line is just like, that doesn't fire you up in today's NFL, like when there's no loyalty out of players and people. Like, that's something, man.
31 teams, every single team reached out. Every single team, Eagles included. Super Bowl champion.
That should fire people up. That should make people like excited to see this kid play football.
Like, I bet it's hard. I mean, like, the Eagles call you and they're like, "Hey, come over here. We just want a Super Bowl. You could play probably quicker over here," and he stays. So I credit to that's big time, man. I'm rooting for Ahmed for sure. I mean, he's on the practice squad, so he's kind of working his way back. So the Lions are getting healthier. I mean, they're getting like 5 guys back, dude. They're getting a handful of dudes back, and Kerby Joseph was actually one of them. I hope they get back sooner than later. Dan kind of gave an update on him today and spoke more in depth about his situation, which I hope he could play this week. But here's Dan on the Kerby Joseph stuff.
Do you expect Kerby Joseph to practice today, and how has he
I don't.
progressed? Oh, how has he progressed?
It's getting better.
Do you expect Kerby Joseph
shout
to
out to-
practice today? How's he
I don't.
progressed?
Shout out to the doc. Oh, you are going through it right now with
All right, hold on.
where are we at? Are we there? We're just talking. You are going through it right now with the backstage stuff.
Bugging, man. That's on me, man. Streamer is bugging. But yeah. So Kerby Joseph did not practice today, and he's getting better. But that's so vague. It's so vague. I don't know I don't honestly, as of right now, Wednesday, I have no clue if he's playing.
My guess would be no. If he gave him that answer, typically, listen, this is the one thing I love about Dan. Dan's always straight up. Dan would probably be like he's going to be good. Like it's positive. It's a positive look for Sunday night. He's said that a million times, right? Like it's looking good for him. He just doesn't say it. That makes me think he's out this week.
Yeah. They need Kerby. He's literally the most productive when it comes to getting takeaways. He's the most productive. He's the most productive. And Shift God just said Diggs went through the waiver wire unclaimed. I don't know.
Are you sure? What about your guy though? Because like you're like, we need Kerby back. Your guy, one of your favorite players on the squad, gets to start when he's out. T-Harp, man. Hey, play the harp a little bit. Come on now.
Hey, T-Harp's been solid. I got no problem with T-Harp. I just man, Kirby's honestly, to put it simple, he's a game changer. Like he's a game changer. When you have a guy that can get takeaways at the level he can get them, that's a game changer. He just is. Like Brian Branch can do so many things. Brian's so versatile, but the thing that Brian cannot do is get takeaways at the level Kerby Joseph can. I mean, he still leads the team in takeaways, and he's been out for a handful of weeks. I mean, he's a takeaway machine, dude. He had like 3 picks in like 6 games, I think.
Yeah.
He was on pace to have like another 7 picks this year.
I mean, he still could. It's like halfway through the year. He could come next week and end up getting 3 more, and he's at 6 for the end of the year.
He's actually, the math's completely wrong. He's on pace. He was on pace for like more than that, to be honest with you. So yeah,
sorry, you're not great at math. He was on pace for maybe like 9.
Yeah, a ton of picks. So I think that's my thing, to be honest. The biggest question mark I have for this week, and I'm going to keep harping on it. And maybe it's the best. The Lions haven't faced the Eagles in a couple of years, and they're facing them obviously with a different roster. It's slightly. We talked about this yesterday. Different from when they won the Super Bowl. I think they're weaker. But the player that I am the most concerned about, to be honest with you, is Saquon Barkley. It's hard not to be, obviously, Saquon Barkley, but you're getting him in a year where he's had a pretty bad year. I think he's averaging like under 4 a carry. I mean, he's not playing too well. Even against the Packers, he averaged like 3 a carry. So he hasn't played well this year. And the Lions, I think right now, their run defense, they are top 10 in opponent yards per rush. So they're averaging 4 a carry given up on the Lions. That's 10th. They're giving up 94.3 yards a game. It's 8th in the NFL right now. So, I mean, they've been a top 10 rushing defense. So they're slightly regressed from last year. And I think that's actually why Tyreek hasn't been playing. They've been Aleem's back, but also Tyreek's been kind of shaky in the run game a little bit. And that's really was the biggest thing for Tyreek coming into his rookie year, is like he's a day one ready run defender, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Like discipline, I don't know what it is, adjustment of different scheme. He was at Ohio State, now he's with the Lions. I don't know, but they have not been. I mean, if it wasn't for like those linebackers, Jack Campbell saves a lot of shit they do or they mess up, and Anzalone and those guys. But you can't. I know Saquon's had 100-yard game. It was against the Giants. This can't be the game. Saquon.
You can't let him have his best game of the year.
No, you can't.
Honestly, I'm with you on that. The one thing I think, like with Shep, and I think he's going to do this. And in my mind, I would guess, because last week he was on. He did his press conference last week, and he kind of harped on the whole thing. No Thomas Harper. No pun intended with Thomas Harper. Shout out. But he harped on the whole like, hey, our defense is predicated on toughness and like being like that hard nose, like stop the run, we're going to hit you, we're going to hurt you, and then we'll figure out the pass game later. And I don't know about like the Commanders game, you could say they got back to it a little bit. I think this is the week versus a guy like Saquon Barkley in the offensive line that they have with Lane Johnson, Malata, Juergens, whatever their guards look like if they're injured. I don't know what's going on with that. But like with that offensive line where they're like really like, okay, this is the week we're going to like show the NFL, hey, our run defense is what it was last year. And like Lee McNeil, DJ Reader, you're not going to have Davenport back, but maybe, and this is me being optimistic, is there a chance Josh Pascal plays on Sunday? And he's one of your best your edge run defenders, where he sets an edge, and also like he'll blow up the outside. He's not going to let Saquon just run right through him. I've said this for years now. I think Josh Pascal, his like best part of his game is his run defense, and it just feels like every time like a team runs towards him, that man's getting the stop, and he's been really good at that. A lot of people look over that because of the sacks, and then Hutch and honestly, just that front seven of the box, man, like Anzo, Jack, and Derek Barnes, like those guys got to be ready to go. But I do think, like, I'm with you. I think this week is one of those weeks where, like, they probably sit in the room and they go through game plan and what's like the number one priority this week. And I would have to guess it's like, hey, make Jalen Hurts beat us in the air with AJ Brown after they're kind of all doing this public media stuff right now where they're all going through it. Like, make them beat you through the air. Make them throw the ball over to Thomas Harper. Make them go at Meek. And then you do the second part, you tell Meek and those guys, step up. Like, here we go. We're loading the box up. We need you guys in the back to protect, but we're going to load the box up. Saquon's getting nothing on us on Sunday night. Nothing.
That's what the Packers essentially did, and then they just couldn't connect in the pass game. I mean, that's basically what it came down to. I mean,
and they're going through it right now the wide receiver room's going through it.
Oh, dude, AJ Brown's pissed off. He went on Twitch. It was streaming Madden and was just basically just throwing shots at the Eagles. And he talked today about it and gave more context. And I kind of understand what he's saying, to be honest.
Me too. I fully do understand.
In the way he's saying it was maybe I don't agree with, but when he talked to the media, when he had this media scrum and he was basically saying, like, I want to win. Obviously, I care about winning. He was talking about the offense. He's like, this offense, dude, we can't keep putting a Band-Aid on this thing and expect to win. Like, we're going to have to figure this shit out. And he ain't lying. Like, Kevin Patullo over there in Philly, the offensive coordinator, they're having problems. They're having a lot of problems. I mean, guys are having down years across the board, which is why John Morton got his job taken away, is because he wasn't involving guys. Yeah. AJ Brown's not getting involved. Saquon's having a down year. I mean, it's like Dallas Goedert like leads the team in touchdowns. It's like really weird. Like they just don't look like they usually do, I guess, game script wise. With who they want to get involved, they're not. It looks a lot different. It looks weird. Just their offense in general.
Hey, can we say this? Maybe what I said yesterday, why I had the Eagles ranked lower, was because I said I don't trust this offense, and they don't look like if they're doing this down the stretch, like it's just not it. Me and AJ Brown are just lockstep. Like he probably watched me on Power Rankings and was like, "Yeah, Booner's right. Like this guy's right."
He literally said, "Drop me in fantasy. Get rid of me."
Yeah, like what he was saying today to the media, he was essentially just like, "What we're doing today, we're never going to win in the playoffs doing what we're doing today." He was like, "Our defense can be as good as they want, but offensively." He was like, we will never win a Super Bowl or win a playoff game doing what we're doing offensively. And like that was my whole point yesterday. It's been my point all year with the Eagles where people are like, Booner, you're wrong. That's been my point with the Eagles this whole time. It's like this offense does not look like the offense of last year. And they have similar guys, basically the same guys. They just cannot connect. And I'm with you, Jeff. It might be Tapulo or whatever his name is. Tom Patullo. It might be Patullo, man. Who knows? But that's kind of been my point. I'm glad me and AJ Brown are kind of in lockstep on that. If he needs me as the OC, pissed, just let me know.
He's pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, it's just supposed to look a certain way. Like you can score points. Like the Lions were second in the league in points, third in the league in points when John Morton got demoted. It's not about the points, man. It's about how the team looks. It's how the game's called. You know, like they were scoring points, but it wasn't the way Dan Campbell wanted it to look. Like it's just not the way he envisioned it to look. You know, and I think that's what the Eagles are kind of going through. And maybe it's good they're coming off a bad offensive game because they just haven't figured it out. I mean, they still haven't really figured it out. And if Saquon gets going, that's going to be the way that if Saquon's going and he's firing on all cylinders, that team looks a lot different. If he's running the ball really well, they look a lot different. So I'm with you. I think their first priority,
one-dimensional though,
stopping Saquon Barkley. Like Jalen Hurts has been playing well, but I would rather I ain't getting beat by Saquon. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. There's no way in hell.
No, if that happens, I'll be disappointed. But I think me and you are lockstep with this game right now. Yeah, where it's load the box up, stop the run, stop Saquon, let them figure that thing out with AJ Brown. You still have Brian Branch and Thomas Harper back there. Maybe even potentially Kerby. Most likely not though.
Well, we'll be joined by the DOC John Maakaron, but first, Here's a quick message from our friends over at Sleeper. I've interrupted the video to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper in the new promotion they have going on. A brand new promotion is now live on Sleeper that could be paired with the 100% deposit match promotion that's already been going on. It's a free $20, no deposit required, plus first-time users will also receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Use the code CT Sports. You guys should already be using Sleeper. It's one of the fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the entire world with millions and millions of active users. They are crushing it. And if your state allows it, you should be using Sleeper Picks. It's a real money product that connects friends over picks. You just choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame live or across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends. Get rewarded together. Don't forget, code CT Sports. Get a $100 deposit up to $100, and you got your free $20 entry. Sleeper is taking care of their customers. Always remember, gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to the video. So we're joined, the man who covers the Detroit Lions for Sports Illustrated, host of the Little Wolves podcast, has his own YouTube channel as well, Detroit Lions on SI. Joins us every single Wednesday at 8:45 to talk Lions, amongst many other things, including his Spartans that are facing some heat today. We'll get to that as well at some point in the show. Mr. John Maakaron. John, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, but I got a complaint already. If Booner wants to play my shrink, he's got to clean up his act. I don't talk to shrinks that look like that. You're looking kind of rough there, my friend. But
listen, whoa, what are you talking about? Play your shrink? Who said I want to play your shrink? What are you coming in so hot for? I texted you today. I said I want to be a friend of yours, not your shrink. I said I want to be a good friend. I'm sad for you. I want to console you. I said I'm going to be there for you today, Doc. You said come with your A game, ready to fight. I said no, Doc. You know what? When I went through the stuff with the Michigan stuff, you came fighting. You're going through this today. I want to give you a hug, Doc, and I want to say, hey, talk to me. Like, let's talk this out, man. I really feel bad for you.
Do I look like a guy that needs to be consoled? I laughed. I was working hard. I was in the zone. I brought my A game, but Booner's like, oh, do you hear about Michigan State and how terrible they are? I'm like, no, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
I'm working, and I'm covering the Detroit Lions in the NFL. I don't got time to worry about Michigan State and the nonsense that they bring to the table. And then
so now you don't care about that.
It was terrible. It was terrible. You brought my mood down. But in the end, I'm still the DOC. I'm feeling good, guys. What's happening?
Doc, hey, I just want to say this, Jeff. I'll let you ask a question. I do want to say, like, it does suck, and I actually didn't think about it until about an hour ago, Doc. I went through the same thing at SVSU. We had like basketball program and programs at SVSU recruiting thing, and it was players eligible, compliance issues, and I think it was like 350 games across the athletic department got vacated. 60 of the basketball ones did, and we lost like 3 or 4 championships. We had to take the banners down while I was there. I lost championships. So I feel for you, Doc. I really do.
Those big 14 wins, man, we're going to miss them.
At least it wasn't like anything massive.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. We'll talk about it. I'll percolate my thoughts on the Spartans and nonsense that they bring to the table.
Well, Doc, we'll start off with I do want to get your thoughts just on Sunday's game against the Commanders. I mean, we had Dan Campbell with the reading glasses calling plays. What did you – number one, I know me and you have been kind of lockstep. You've been talking a lot about – you asked actually the question to Dan Campbell about John Morton and, kind of questioning some of John Morton's play calling abilities. And now we're, a handful of weeks in. They're like second or third in the league in points, but play caller changes. Dan Campbell calls plays, and they score on every single possession. What was kind of your big takeaway there watching Dan Campbell call plays? Second time he's done it in his tenure. The other time was when they got rid of Anthony Lynn. But what'd you make of Dan Campbell calling plays, Doc?
Yeah, let me set the table, man. It was great. I set up, I didn't go to Washington. If I would have planned to go to Washington, I would have been bummed out because no Jaden Daniels. The Commanders' defense is atrocious. There was no buzz for this game. The buzz was about John Morton all week because the Commanders were terrible. They lost Jaden Daniels. All the buzz of that game was kind of like, okay, how bad are the Lions going to whoop the ass of the Commanders? And the game starts, you're starting to type, you get your storylines ready to percolate, and all of a sudden you start to see, the screen, and Dan Campbell's holding the play sheet, which didn't necessarily indicate he was going to call plays. But once he wore those glasses, everybody was like, wait a minute. And then watching on X is the best for me, is I can see the live reactions, and I'm in the mix too. Everybody's like, yes, Dan's calling plays, and I felt it. I don't know how you guys felt. And for that game, typically it doesn't happen to me. I'm in control of my emotions. I pretty much act professionally, even though there are people that sit next to me at Ford Field that cheer during the game. I do not. I'm professional. I'm pretty much stone-faced. A couple comments to colleagues, but sitting at home watching that, I turned into a fan. I had energy flowing through my body. I was like, yes, this is perfect. And I was excited. I basically assigned Christian to write it, and I listened to the radio. The traditional media was a little bit slow to kind of acknowledge it, but sitting at home watching it, I knew it was clear. The offense was great. I had this full energy. I was full on excited because of what it meant, and it all made logical sense. Who better to call this offense than Dan Campbell? Who better? And it's just the way it's got to go. And I tried to ask Dan this week. I think he should just do it from now until he retires from the league. He is an offensive genius. He's learned from Sean Payton. The offense looked great. They scored points. They involved everybody. And to me, we should have read between the tea leaves. I was just, in one of these rare instances, professional. I thought 8 games, they would give John Morton a little bit of time, let him call a game against a really bad team, see if he drops 50. But Dan's like, no. After that awful performance against the Vikings, in which it was so bad, so atrocious, so discombobulated, they stripped him of the play calling. Good. Right away, if you can't copy Ben Johnson's offense and you're the one that purportedly put it in, you can't call it. 8 games is all you get, and he'll never get it back. He's not a play caller. It's pretty straightforward. And the blessing is that if you followed me at Detroit Podcast, I shared the things I liked about John Morton and the things I thought he would struggle at. He got fired with the Jets because he couldn't establish a exotic, realistic, consistent run game. And that's what happened. You turned Jahmyr Gibbs into an afterthought. Dan Campbell came in. That offense looked good. And throughout the game, guys, there was no lull in my energy. I was amped up because, 1, you curb stomped the team. And 2, I feel like Dan Campbell running the ship, calling the plays in game, gives this team the best chance to win against elite talent. And I'm excited for the rest of the year.
Yeah, Doc, I know you kind of already touched on it there when it comes to Dan Campbell fully calling plays in the future. Let's say he doesn't want to do it in the future. Do you think there's a world where John Morton does kind of get another call up? He did kind of allude to the fact of to the Ben Johnson thing, where Ben Johnson had 7 or 8 games to kind of learn from him, and then they gave Ben Johnson kind of the reins that next year. Do you think there's something similar with that with John Morton? And if not, and if Dan's not going to be the full future, did you have any names in mind and people that you feel like could kind of take that over?
Absolutely. I came prepared. And so it's a great question, great thing to talk about. John Morton should not be the offensive coordinator. He should be what he was when he was with the team in 2022. He should be the senior offensive assistant. He should come in, do the job, help Dan Campbell, put in plays, put in his input. He needs to be around this organization, just not in that role. It's not the right role for him. It's just not. It was they gave a guy that was loyal to the organization a try. It didn't work out. No chance at all. And especially now, let's look at the timeline. He gets stripped of his play calling duties on a Monday. On a Thursday, he's blasting the players. So that didn't go over well because the players were like, wait a minute. You're telling us we're getting our ass beat. It was a scheme problem. That was on you, Johnny Morton. So that's not what's going to happen. And unfortunately, guys, there are going to be, I think, 3 potential candidates that are better than him. Maybe 4. Mike LaFleur, or LaFleur from the Packers, is on the hot seat, even though, he's won 13 games. If they collapse and they still on offense don't play as well coming off a game in which you didn't do well, that guy's going to be available. I think Zach Taylor from the Bengals could be on his way out. Brian Daboll could be a name that has a relationship with Dan Campbell from their previous days. And also, too, a wild card, which I don't know exactly if he fits the vibe of Detroit, knowing his son, knowing his issues in the past and knowing where it's been. But Mike McDaniels, I think, is going to get fired from the Dolphins. So you got opportunities that are former NFL head coaches to come in here and take the job. I think Dan Campbell is going to have his choice of opportunities to upgrade. And so, in my opinion, I do think that Dan Campbell doesn't want to do it because he likes the ability to delegate and oversee and do the things he's got to do. But in the end, it's going to be a collaborative effort with anybody involved. I just think that, I tried to get him to say it, but I think Dan Campbell should be Andy Reid. Dan Campbell is at that level. He understands this team. And I think that with the relationship that Dan and Jared could develop over the years, I think it can be really special, especially when you're investing that much money in Jared Goff, the guy that knows this offense the best. If you go from the outside, it may take some time for that person to exactly know, but you cannot. Listen, man, the entire fan base would revolt if they saw that John Morton was calling plays. They just don't believe in him. There's just a disconnect in the lack of trust in what he's done. And he had the reins of the offense, and you couldn't effectively run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs. Something was wrong. It was a massive disconnect. So I do not see a world in my mind where you put John Morton in a position where every incomplete pass is going to be talked about on X. It's just a no-win situation for him. And I do think there's actually better play callers that are going to come available.
Yeah, Doc, I guess the question I have for you to kind of follow that up is, in that game, the offensive line played pretty well, and Yodi stepped in there at left guard. What did you kind of make of the offensive line play against the Commanders? And is that something that gives you a little more hope for the future? Now, with Miles Frazier, I know, working in the background, but what did you think of the overall, just the offensive line play in that game?
Yeah, no, look, we have to keep things in context. This week, you'll get a real sense against that defensive front what the matchup was. Guys, the Commanders, when you watch the film, the most fight they had was Deron Payne swinging at Amon-Ra St. Brown. That team was looking at the highway. They didn't want to be there. They didn't want to compete. And so as a result of that, Dan Quinn took over the defensive play calling. It was atrocious. They didn't want to be there. And that was really bad. And look, hey, to the Lions' advantage, they kind of knew that the Commanders were kind of coming in a spot where they were a little bit down. When you lose your quarterback that way, where you're getting your tail kicked in and the quarterback shouldn't be in the game, that's disheartening. That's deflating. So the offensive line was pissed. They were ready to go back after a bad game against the Vikings, where, quite frankly, let's be honest, they got punked. They got out physical. That rarely happens to that offensive line. So they came in like, all right, the whole world thinks we suck again. We don't think we're that bad. Let's go out physical an opponent. And they did. Look, man, the Commanders were a bad football team. They played bad. And most notably, the blessing is to see what was amped up is that the offensive line protected, very clean, and it opened things up to be able to run the football with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. It made Jared Goff, and it's so true to say, when Jared Goff is clean and he's got a running game and everything operates, he's lethal. He is one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the whole league. But it's just tough to do because these defensive linemen are also getting paid, and across the league, everybody's investing top picks in the trenches. So it's a tough battle, but I think too that Jared Goff now will have built-in answers. When Jared was pressured with Morton calling plays, it looked like a mess. Jared Goff is actually quite decent against the blitz. He'll have a lot of hot reads. He'll have a lot of opportunities to get the ball out quickly. He'll have more of an opportunity to succeed against better opponents. The Commanders, my God, it was atrocious start to finish in a lot of phases. The only thing they had going for him was that running game that rookie, that young, inexperienced running back brought them some energy. So, man, thankfully the Commanders game came at the right time, and you got to sit back and type it comfortably. And the story was always going to be not the Lions and the Commanders. The story was going to be Dan Campbell figured out a problem. And we have to give Dan Campbell credit. In years past, Lions teams would wait until the end of the season, or they'd give Morton another year, and it would take forever to solve a problem. Dan Campbell's like, oh, we have a problem. This doesn't look right. This doesn't look like the vision. He had 8 games. He couldn't achieve the vision of what I wanted. Boom, change made. And I loved it. It gave me energy. It gave the team energy. And I quite frankly think it gave Dan Campbell energy. Like, man, I can do this. Like, he can call plays at a high level in the National Football League.
Yeah, Doc, something else I want to ask you about here kind of heading into these next few weeks is obviously the news of the last couple of weeks about all these, especially defensive players coming off the IR with DJ Reed, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, Ahmed Hassan. There's a handful of defensive players that are now coming. And as well as Justin Rogers mentioned on the Lions Collective, it feels like it's more so of a trade deadline acquisition with all these guys returning to the defense. What's your confidence level with these guys? And as well as too, I guess if you want to go like player by player on your thoughts of when they're going to return, like DJ Reed, Davenport, Hassanin, and as well as Malcolm Rodriguez, if you have kind of some sort of thought process on when they get their first snaps here back with the Lions.
Yeah, no doubt about it. My sources or friends on the internet basically said that I believe that the Malcolm Rodriguez's 21-day window is up this week. So they're going to activate him, I believe. If you realize this is his third week of practice, the window when it's open is 21 days. So I would presume that by all the reports from my friends that I like Starbucks with, that you guys know, also indicate that it's going to be the Eagles game. So that's Malcolm Rodriguez. Davenport, I would think, gets the full 2 or 3 weeks. So he's the guy that Dan Campbell's been talking about for December. The guy I think that potentially, based on how things go, I think it's going to be potentially maybe Thanksgiving for DJ Reed. Think about it. You get a couple opportunities here to get after it. You start his clock. You don't really need him against the Giants, right? You're not going to put him in against the Eagles right away. That would be a little bit wild. Get him acclimated. I think you go up against the Packers and have an opportunity to debut. So it's a good opportunity to be able to get these guys back in December. Hassanin's on the practice squad. I think he's going to develop and take his time. Again, probably won't see him called up until December. So you're right. It is viewed kind of as some acquisitions you get at the deadline. But unfortunately, you're also dealing with, Terry and Arnold up and down. You don't want to be, dealing with a brain injury and things like that. Sometimes when you get a concussion or, get dinged, it can lend to another one. So you want to be ultra cautious not to return him back too quickly. And then the one that's concerning to me, and, it's always concerning when the coach gives the quick answers. Kerby Joseph, not back at practice. The irritation's still there.
Hey, great question, Doc. Great question. Hey, I heard you. We heard you.
I wanted to see, and he was just like getting better. I mean, okay, we'll see when that takes place. It's been interesting to see like that irritation not exactly respond to rehab the way in which the team wanted. So it's something to monitor tomorrow. If he's not at practice, that pretty much puts him in question for the Eagles game. So I'm very curious to see when he gets back, because you need a player of Kerby Joseph's caliber as soon as possible. But by and large, the team has done well with the next man up mentality. So it's a good opportunity to get some of these defenders back. And I think that with the defensive line, any help that you can get, is going to be very, very much warranted when it comes down to the postseason and when you need everybody to step up.
Doc, we were talking about it earlier. A player that I want to get your thoughts on overall is a player they took 28th overall, Tyreek Williams. Seems like he's been kind of getting squeezed out of the rotation a little bit. Roy Lopez is playing some good football. Lee McNeil's back, and obviously DJ Reader. But is this a matter of he's just in a stacked defensive line room and you're not as concerned? Or you think there's something to it that Roy Lopez, and I got a lot of respect for Roy Lopez, but Roy Lopez beating out your first-round pick is probably maybe a little disappointing. I'm not saying the guy's a bust or anything, but at least year one, maybe you expected Tyreek to be a better player right away. Came from Ohio State. Is that a fair assessment of Tyreek in year one, or should we be more patient?
Yeah, no, it's quite simple to observe in all fronts. He's a young player, first and foremost, that this defensive line is very, the coaching staff is very demanding. And when you draft players now, where the lines are at, and so when I'm of the opinion that, and I ruffled some feathers with a take that I had late in a show when I'm delirious and saying things, and I intro it by saying what I'm saying is dumb, but hear the premise. When you draft late 20s in every round, the quality of player is less and less and less. You're taking a player 24th, 26th, 30th. As you get better, the difficulty hitting is going to be much more difficult. So I'm ready to trade those picks for an offensive weapon, a defensive weapon. I don't care. Now you're at the point where those picks maybe not are. And also, too, guys, remember, Brad Holmes said some of these draft picks are not going to make the team anymore. It gets harder and harder and harder to make the team. So take those picks and get guys that are competitive. Get guys that can win now. So this is the time to do it. So that's the reason why I don't covet you guys. A lot of the fans covet these draft picks like to the degree that they will battle you and be like, well, I'd take a first round pick over Garrett Wilson. I'd take a first round pick over this guy. And I'm like, okay, guys, fine. That's fine. I just think a little differently. I F them picks right now. And I can't wait till one day they do it. But with Tyreek Williams, it's quite simple. What Dan Campbell is a straight shooter. And if you're not practicing consistently and winning over the guy next to you, you're not playing. And on film, it shows that there are moments where great against the run, fills the gap, sound responsibly. Other plays, not so much. Rookie mistakes, where you're in the wrong spot, you're missing the call, you're not doing exactly what you need to do. Rookie mistakes. When you have a guy like Roy Lopez who's seasoned and can do a bunch of different things, first and foremost, DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil are stout against the run, very consistent, and they're ballers. And now you get Roy Lopez coming in, and he's like also able to be stout and can get in the gaps, can win some one-on-one battles. And the most important thing for Dan, it's not where you get drafted. It's not your number. It's not how much money you make per year. It's none of that. It's down in, down out. Do you do your job? Down in, down out consistently. They don't want you good on first down, good on third down. Oh, take a couple plays here. You know, you're not where you need to be. No, it's every single responsibility that you are tasked with, you must execute. It's not lighting up the stat sheet. It's be where you need to be. When you have a chance to win that rep, you win it over and over and over in practice and in games. That didn't happen. So Tyreek has played less and less, and DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, and Roy Lopez have played a little bit more. But there will be opportunities. Tyreek Williams is a young, developing player. He will get with it, and I do think that he'll be somebody that next year you'll get the full force of, because I do think that, you know, unfortunately, we might be seeing, maybe they'll keep him from one more year, but I think we might be seeing the last handful of games with DJ Reader. You don't draft Tyreek Williams to then bring back a veteran that's a little bit older, in my opinion. I'm a little bit ageist, as you know, you guys know, but DJ Reader, give him credit. Dude's balling and he's playing great, stayed healthy, and he's an emotional and really a locker room leader. I would even argue to bring him back, but changes roll up a little bit. But my goodness, Tyreek Williams has room to develop, but it's going to take time.
Hey, real quick before you go, Boone, we gotta address this, Doc. I mean, I forgot to ask you about this. I don't know if you saw this, Boone. Doc, are you okay? What was with the trade for Garrett Wilson? I mean, what's going on with you? I saw you trending.
I did not see this. I thought I did not know Doc was.
This guy's in his live talking about I want Garrett Wilson. Oh, and everyone's wrong.
No,
I mean, this guy Doc live is I mean, that's a problem. I don't know if we have to just start to do like 10-second delay on him and have someone constantly be like, no, you can't say that, Doc. Like, you saying that is basically like saying like like I don't know, like a slur. What are we doing?
Listen. Okay, so.
Yeah, what the hell were you talking about, Doc?
Okay. So, So let's put the full context. And I respect you for asking. Some people were responding to that. They were responding to without even watching the clip. I had to call out some guy that's trying to get into the media where he breaks the cardinal rule and tells me publicly, "Hey, man, I didn't really watch your clip, but I'm giving you an opinion." Well, thank you, Mr. J. Your opinion is invalidated. And so here's the thought, okay? If you watch the video, here's what I said. First of all, on game day, most days I get up 7 a.m. On Sundays, I wake up at 5. I wake up naturally full of energy, and I'm starting to read. I'm getting excited. So then my day is packed full of writing, analyzing, watching, Onyx, writing, okay? Then now after the games, I'm liking the opportunity to go live and talk and let it rip. So at that point, I said, guys, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes in. I should be going. But the crazy thing, my eyes keep seeing the stream starts off with 300, then it gets to 500. Then, like, I think other shows end or you guys end, and then it gets to 800, 1,000, 1,100. I'm like, where are all these people coming from? What's going on here? More people are liking it. The algorithm hits. I don't understand. But I don't leave because more and more people keep popping up. So I said, listen, what I'm saying is dumb, but this is the context of what I'm saying. if Dan Campbell was sensing that John Morton wasn't it, that he was going to potentially change it up, and Brad Holmes is an offensive mind, and Brad Holmes is a guy that traded up for J-Mo, made some moves to be aggressive with Jahmyr Gibbs, likes the talent. We're all sitting here screaming, trade them picks for a defensive end. You know what? Let's just go where the Lions are at. Trade those picks for an offensive weapon. That's all I was saying. Remember, the context is the Colts traded 2 first-round picks for a player. I'm like, if the Jets were open for business, I don't care about the cap. You figure it out. Now, of course, Garrett Wilson gets hurt because I opened my mouth. But I said in that video, I just watched the Jets. I just threw out Garrett Wilson because I watched them. I said, pick any offensive name. The theory is, the deep context is, don't get hung up on the name. Get hung up on the theory. You agree with it or you don't. In my opinion, if you want any player in this league on a team that's not good, on a team that's struggling, you offer a first or 2 firsts, you can get any player you want. So I'm all for it. I'm all for aggression. I've never stopped. I'm all for more. Like, everybody's like, you can't do this, you can't do that. I am a lone wolf in that I'll say things that, remember, the theory for me is I came to the media with an audience already. So all I'm doing is I have a core group of X people that follow me no matter what. All I'm doing is just adding more attention with haters that say who's saying this and why he's saying that. But the blessing for me is I can share my thoughts, why I'm saying it. And the theory is, pick any player you want. Pick any player that you feel would have had offensive impact. Could have been a lineman, could have been a wide receiver. I'm more into, the entertainment value, diva wide receivers. Personally, I like wide receivers, the way they get down. I would have traded 2 firsts for a wide receiver. I'm okay with it. I would not have complained. I would have been like, okay, or a first for a wide receiver. I'm all about sheer aggression. That's what I think. Other people did not like that comment. That's fine. Other people want to question my sanity. But remember, I said it. By that point, that was 15 hours into my workday. And I said, guys, I probably should hop off of this before I say more dumb things. But I'm going to say always, forever and a day, whether I'm in this position or in a higher position, lower in a position, fortune favors the bold. Be aggressive. I believe you, as a GM, you use all the tools: free agency, trades, draft, cap, every tool you have to finagle to try to win. And that's my opinion. And I respect those that say, Doc, I love those draft picks, but guys, it's getting harder to hit. And the facts indicate that those draft picks being in the 30s are your first round pick, guys, is not playing. He's playing 12 snaps a game. Would you rather have that or somebody else? And it's a fair discussion. Most people, like I said, are simple-minded. They listen to some fan that sits in the nosebleeds that just tweets all day. Come on, think a little deeper. Think a little like me. And remember, really, in the end, Brad Holmes activated me. He sat there and said, he sits there and he goes and he puts it together, a group of people. And yeah, they're all going to tell him an opinion. But he's like, man, that lone wolf that has the willingness to think outside the box, I'm going to listen to him. That's me, baby. I don't care what people think of my opinions. And in the end, all you're doing when you do that is just highlighting, like, that clip got 30,000 views. That was literally a throwaway clip that I was debating with some other fan that was just like, why would you do that? I said, you made me throw this clip in here. I got to throw it. It's a throwaway clip. It was nonsense. But if you know Doc, you will always know where I stand. Trade those picks. Les Snead traded those picks for a Super Bowl. F them picks is my philosophy. Pick anybody you want. It's not my job to nail the name. I just said Garrett Wilson because I'm watching the Jets and I like him. So cap be damned. I don't care. Figure out the cap. I don't care. I am a visionary. I'm a guy that doesn't put limits. If I was that way, I would have never started a podcast and said to myself, I'm going to work in the NFL as an average Joe. Literally, pick a name. I'm literally Scott E in your chat. That's me. I am Scott E in your chat. And I said, I want to be in the NFL asking questions. Point blank, period. If someone heard that, they'd be like, you're an idiot. Go to journalism school. Go do this. Go do this. I don't care. I am willing to say whatever I need to say to share my point of view. And my point of view at the core level is F them picks.
Hey, Doc, that's such an interest. Hey, you're different, man, in a really good way, man. That's why you're doing what you're doing right now.
But you can't criticize me when I intro the video going, guys, I'm 15 hours into the day. This is going to sound dumb, but I'm just going to say it anyway.
But it is dumb.
Great
Yeah,
video,
no,
great video.
it sounds dumb. It is dumb.
It might be.
I say a lot of dumb things too, Doc. We all do in this business. We talk about the same things over and over every day. Eventually, we're going to say something really dumb. I do want to ask you something as well, because one thing I haven't liked the last week, and I've gotten into battles about it with people in the chat, people online, and Jeff as well. I don't like this. And I understand the last. Really not this last week, but the week before, the special teams last week versus the Vikings were really bad. But that was kind of like one of the first really bad special teams units you've seen out of Dave Phipp. They've been inconsistent this year, but a lot of people are going at Dave Phipp. I've brought up the argument. Listen, Dave Phipp's one of the best at his position in the league. He's been consistent for 4 or 5 years now. That's probably the last of your worries. Can I get your thoughts on this whole Dave Phipp special teams thing? Am I on the wrong side of history here, trying to stand up for Dave Phipp and be like, listen, they're going to get Rodrigo back in special teams. Things are going to start getting better. He is one of the best in the league. There's no reason to even put the same word of Dave Phipp and fire in the same sentence, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, it's got to be better. It's clear. But now, look, here's the challenge, okay? Sione Vaki was dealing with a big-time injury. Craig Reynolds has been in and out of the lineup. You're using Jack Campbell more and more. So here's the deal. First of all, there are modified rules with the kickoff. The kickoff coverage is different. The other side's getting paid too. But special team is about effort and concentration. And here's the challenging part is you don't just have us like, hey, clearly Grant Stewart is on the special teams unit, but it's a mixed match of guys you want to use that maybe, are starters or not starters. It's a very challenging thing week in, week out to be able to, develop consistency. Now, I do think that they got to get better. First of all, against the Vikings, you can't give up, a couple of those long runs. And, you were in a spot where you get a field goal blocked and the guy runs it back. So you were giving part of the reason why you lost was you were giving a quarterback that's inept, that really went to a school that didn't prepare him to play NFL quarterback in Michigan. But that's here nor there. In my opinion, I feel like you gave JJ McCarthy an easier opportunity to beat you by setting him up in great field position. You're not going to fire Dave Phipp. He's well respected. He is one of the top motivators, great special teams coordinator, and he's got a role on that staff. But his unit is giving up some more plays than you would like. Jake Bates got to consistently grow and get better. But look, it is one of those deals where it happened. It has been a concern. And so you put it on the table and you say, kick return, punt return, have to step it up. And when in money time, I think they will.
Doc, I'll ask you, and we'll kind of transition right into the Eagles game here this weekend, because we had this conversation yesterday and we've been having it a lot this week. After that Monday night game, the Eagles did not look good, especially offensively. They've been having some offensive problems, but they still have a ton of talent. A.J. Brown's over here complaining about the offense. What have you kind of made just viewing the Eagles, and how much of a threat are they in the NFC in your eyes? How dangerous are the Eagles compared to last year?
Yeah. Now, first and foremost, I want to set the tone, because there is a clear jealousy or irritation that the fan base has for someone like me or those Lions fans that say, wow, give Howie Roseman his respect. He's got 2 rings. Now, it took him time. It took him a little bit of time to get his system in place, but he's got the rings, people. So he's in the elite class of people that I go, wow, I want to be like Howie. I want to be like Howie Roseman. I want to be like Les Snead. I want to copy winners. So it's not a knock on Brad Holmes, but Howie 2, Brad 0. Howie 2 bling bling rings, and he got a ring and had, time to get it back, and he's made epic blunders. But everyone's like, how weird do you have to be to go online and be like, Howie picked this guy, Jair Alexander, he retired. Howie picked Za'Darius Smith, he quit. It doesn't matter. Howie could go out there for the next 9 drafts and suck. He has 2 rings. He has reached the mountaintop. And he has the ability to speak in a way that makes you go, yeah, I like the way that guy speaks. He's like, I don't care what happens in this world, that if I believe I can do something, I'm going to do it. Aggression. It's the same in poker. If you're going to sit there and take your stack and never be willing to push all in with a 6-8 suited, I'm sorry. A guy like me is going to pick you apart because I'm willing to shove all my chips in the middle at times when you're not supposed to. 2 overcards and 2 hearts, baby, and there's a flush draw. Let's go. Let's push. If you got a 48% advantage, sometimes you just got to push. And so if you do Google my name and you go way into page 19 of Google, I have cashed a couple times in some poker tournaments, but I favor more limit, where you kind of can be a little bit safer. But No Limit Hold'em is the greatest game on earth. If you're into psychology and into people, man, what a beautiful game, because you can tell who's a little bit scared, wants to protect those chips, and who's going to push all those chips in the middle. So let's give Howie respect and hope and pray that Brad Holmes gets to that level. It's not disrespectful. The man has rings. You don't disrespect people that are where you want to be. Now, Brad has done a great job, built through the draft. And at the current stage, the Eagles, once you hit the mountaintop, and probably if the Lions win a Super Bowl, are going to face the same problem. They had the biggest choice they had to make, and they made it. They let Mekhi Becton go bye-bye. That caused a problem. And it caused a ripple effect where your offensive line is not the same flow. It's not the same flow anymore. So Saquon's not the same player anymore. So it starts with that. Saquon's not the same. And listen, you never wish for injury, but when Lane Johnson came up a little bit lame there with the Packers, I was like, oh, okay, a little bit of a point for Aiden. And I was like, all right, let's see what happens. So at this point in time, it's an Eagles team that now Howie has to add more talent because some of the players that he had to let go, the replacements maybe not as good. But still, they got good talent, and they got a nice set of defensive linemen. They have a nice team with a great defensive coordinator. Their issue is on offense consistency. And it is one of those things where there's something underlying between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is a traditional diva where if he's not getting the amount of touches, there's always this weird aura around him of like, he's not happy, he's happy. People are always like, as a player, when you speak, you can clearly, eloquently discuss, like how J-Mo's been doing, your situation. So it doesn't become a one-day story, doesn't become a 6-day story. I think what A.J. Brown recently, I think as of yesterday, was on a stream and was like, oh man, what we got going on is a shit show or whatever that he was talking about. He's always in the news for stuff that it's too much noise coming out of A.J. Brown. So that's never good. And I think that first and foremost, Jalen Hurts has to feed A.J. Brown. So you got to take him away, make sure that the explosives, the 2 players I'm concerned about in this game are Saquon Barkley and Devonta Smith. If those 2 guys can get into rhythm and you know that they're going to want to play better, that's going to be a problem for you. But I do think that the Lions' sheer number of talent offensively starting to feel more and more comfortable that if the Lions get into Dan Campbell flow, Eagles aren't keeping up. And if you tighten up the ship on defense, the more the hours pass, the happier I feel that the Lions have a chance to just get out there and boat race the Eagles. Like, they're not going to keep up. Like, if they're aggressive, maybe one explosive from J-Mo, if you get that 1 or 2 explosive plays, I feel like you can get out to a 14-3 lead and weather the storm. The problem's going to be the defense now has a clear problem, and they are giving up 66% of, if you want to do the stats, they're giving up 66% of times the opponent hits the red zone, they're giving up a touchdown. That's a little too high. The opponents have hit the red zone 30 times, and they've scored 20 touchdowns. So that's a little bit too high. You want to clean that up. And if you do, I'm more and more confident that outside of the weirdness of, hey, the officials, blowing whistles and doing weird things, I feel like the Lions are coming into this game playing at a level offensively that should be able to translate to enforce their will against the Eagles. I'm getting more and more excited.
Yeah, Doc, I just want to kind of just going off of what you just said there, the offense kind of getting into rhythm. What's the confidence level kind of 1 through 10 here with Dan Campbell putting back together back-to-back performances as kind of the play caller? especially versus like this Eagles defense is one of the best in the league. I know this team might have, they're 7-2, struggles offensively, but this defense has kept them in every single game we saw versus the Packers. That front seven they have is incredible. Their secondary is coming together. Do you think that Dan's able to put this together again? Maybe get Tesla involved a little bit more. Amon-Ra, he was involved but didn't have the biggest game. How do you see kind of that working out in that week 2 Dan Campbell calling plays?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little inside story here on Tesla. It was fun. It was real funny today. I broke down and laughed a little bit, and I'll share it. But first and foremost, I want to say this. I don't understand how, and I had Joy Taylor on my podcast when she was all unhappy, when the national media was unhappy that Dan did the kneecap speech, he did the helmet, that they didn't get just how bright he is offensively. Like, they didn't know that. Like, you started to see the team turn around when Ben Johnson came into the fold. You don't start winning games at that clip in his second year. Remember, they started off a little weak in the second year, and then they got a little bit better right before that Packers game that they won, but still missed the playoffs. The team started to showcase what they were about, that they wanted balance, that they wanted to be able to they got Amon-Ra St. Brown really started to get involved, and you started to use your weapons. So to me, that's really bad analysis if you looked at Dan Campbell and said, well, Ben Johnson's the sole reason why. Dan Campbell approved Jared Goff coming here. If Dan Campbell didn't want Jared Goff here, he wouldn't be here. So I think that's real dumb. And I think, too, it's because people don't respect maybe mentor training and they don't get it. Like, do you know who Sean Payton is? I know most people look at the headline and go, wow, he's the guy that oversaw the, defensive, bounty gate stuff and all that. But do you realize he also trained under Bill Parcells, was with the Cowboys and did some things, and was Sean Payton was considered an offensive mastermind, not just some guy, a mastermind. And he worked his way up. You don't just get to recycle yourself as an NFL coach if you suck. So Dan did the work. Like, if you just did any sort of research and watched, you would be like, that guy's not Jabron. Now, Dan maybe wanted to portray that, and I get it. But, dude, you not understand? Bill Parcells is one of the greatest coaches of all time. And he trained Sean Payton, and Sean Payton trained Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell worked with Drew Brees. So to me, I always respect that. I love the mentor-mentee relationship. That's the most beautiful kind of relationship you can have, is I have skills and I want to pass it on to people that want to do the same thing. I love doing that. And I think most people that talk to me would get that sense that I love to pass on the same kind of knowledge to help anybody, where I can keep all the secrets to myself. And so those that truly know me, not the guy that you just see screaming his head off, you know what I'm about. But for Dan Campbell, my goodness, it's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity for him to do the things that he needs to do. And for him calling plays, I wish he just would declare it. Like, and to me, this is the part that I don't like in media, is where Dan's trying to protect John Moore and he's trying to do the PC thing. Listen, we all know it. There's no hiding it. We all know John Moore is not a great play caller. We all know what his deficiencies are. We all know that Dan is better in all facets. Listen, right now, in terms of play callers, not just overall head coaches, play callers, it's Dan Campbell, Sean McVay, Andy Reid. Those are the creme de la creme. Dan's in that mix. I will declare it. I'll own it. Even though I challenged him and said, hey, can you copy greatness? And maybe didn't ask it the best way, but that was really a compliment in some way. Like, we saw greatness. Can you copy it? And John Morton can't, but one guy can. That's Dan Campbell. And so, trust me, if you read up on, listen, Dan Campbell's a student of the game. Listen, I don't just come into this. I may portray myself as some loudmouth hot take guy, but I did my research. I read the Jimmy Johnson book. I read the Bill Parcells book. I know all the ins and outs of the coaches that influenced Dan Campbell. And Dan is a bright student of the game who uses stuff from Jimmy Johnson, who uses stuff from Sean Payton, who uses stuff from everywhere in a day. You think Ben Johnson just came up with that all by himself? Dan's in those meetings right there, learning from Ben Johnson, learning from Dan Campbell. That's how you grow, is you sit with the same smart people and you say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So Ben Johnson made Dan Campbell better, and Dan Campbell made Ben Johnson better. Dan Campbell, guys, is an elite offensive mind. And first of all, you may not be in depth as me, But, Danny Rogers does a lot of weekly interviews with him, and he goes over film. Don't you guys listen? I mean, I know you got to distract yourself and be like, listen to Dan over the reporter. But Dan, when he breaks down film, is just talks the game. I see this. I can see this guy doing this. And that's not something that he's doing 9 different takes on. He just goes there, talks ball, and leaves. So, you got to give Dan Campbell the credit, and you saw it cold against the Commanders. Now, he was smart to go up against an ass defense, but cold-blooded. That's why I think Dan Campbell should own the job and just say, you know what? I'm Andy Reid. I'm doing this job for forever, and call the plays.
Well, Doc, now we're at that time before we get to Q&A here. By the way, drop your questions for the Doc. MSU, Doc, it's time. I mean, let's get your thoughts on it. I know you said you don't really give a damn, but seems like Michigan State.
I give a damn. No, when you say I give a damn, of course I give a damn. And listen, Booner, I love you and respect you guys so much, but there will be no consoling needed. You open up your ears, listen, and be entertained, and ask any questions that you want.
It's all right, bud. I'm a good friend here of yours.
Yes.
Anything you need.
If I ever need assistance, I will message you, Booner, and ask. I'm not shy.
What a great friend.
Any questions that I have, I will text you. I'm upset. It's annoying. First of all, look at the optics of this. It does feel in some way, and I take it personally. It feels as though, and I do relate a lot of my own life to the things I cover, which maybe blinds me, or I don't know. But it feels like exactly what it's like to be a podcaster in media when you first start. People look at you and go, what, you talk shit on the internet and you want to be a media member? Yeah, I use my voice to grow an audience, because not even my face, just my voice, to grow an audience because they knew who I was. And I did it every week, day after day, week after week. They look at you like, do you belong here? Yes, I belong here. I forced my way in here. You ask a question that maybe is a little bit sideways that they don't want to hear, and they look at you like, do you belong here? You post a video. Do you know what you're doing? And you just always looked at from that weird angle, like that weird side eye, like you're some weird guy with a third leg. It's like, I'm a regular guy that asks questions. It's not that deep. And I just did it really not out of the joy of doing it. It's just to prove that I could do it and grow as a person. And also, too, I didn't ask a question for the first year I sat in that room. I took notes and copied everybody's question. So now, how does it relate to Michigan State? Michigan State is like some weird stepchild that makes a mistake and they cheated. And you look across the 60 miles up the road, they cheated. They planted their flag and they denied and they stalled. And they basically, Michigan had the slick back lawyer, the very rich lawyer that walks in and goes, I got you. No problem. It's the guy you call if your dad or mom gets in trouble. Like, you're not going to send them to some public defender. You send them to the slick back dude with the tie that costs, per hour, $400 an hour, and they take care of it. The fixer, right? So does Michigan State get a fixer? They go and cheat, and that's fine. I get it. I'm not mad at it. But Michigan cheats, and it's this long, drawn-out thing, so many deflections. Meanwhile, they're winning, and they're growing their brand. They win the national title. They do it the way that everybody else did it. Listen, and let's just real fast rewind. The reason why, and take out the bias, the reason why Jim Harbaugh was cheating was the heat got so hot. He was losing to Mel Tucker. He was losing the fan base. The donors were pissed, and they were about to yank the dollars. They were mad. The dollars were drying up. Michigan fans wanted to besmirch Jim Harbaugh. He said, I can't have that. Time to cheat. Fine. So what does he do? He goes to the Pete Carroll plan. The way you cheat is the way you cheat. You redo all the violations. You do all the things you got to do to cheat, and you know you're going to bounce, and you cheat effectively. Michigan State cheats, and they go right to the NCAA and like, we paid these guys $10,000. I don't know what we did.
No, we did the right thing.
We cheated. We did the bad thing. We did awfulness. We did bad. And they're like,
so it's okay for you guys to cheat because you turned yourself in, but other people can't. Like, what are you talking about? You cheated still. It's like the same thing. It's like being like, it's like cheating on like your significant other and being like, well, I told you I did it, so it's okay. No, like you did it. It's not good.
That's a whole different. I will answer what my thoughts are on cheating. It's a whole different thing. The point
I know what your thoughts are on cheating because you had a whole thing about it 6 months ago, and you said that you think it's the worst thing in the world, and you would never do it, and you would never support.
I didn't say that. Well, then I was wrong on that. I think that.
Now it's changed. Okay,
I will eloquently describe that as well. Let me finish my point. My point is, Michigan State cheats, and they show up with a public defender and the worst attorney, and they get hammered in the punishment. Now, Michigan is supposed to be above this. They're supposed to be the leaders and best. They're supposed to be these upstanding Michigan men. It's two things now. People in college football cheat. It's been done before. There's a formula how to do it. Some people would take that route and go down that road. I never thought, me and Adam Straczynski on Doc and Jock never thought Michigan would do it. When the heat was hot, I thought they just would fire Jim Harbaugh and go down the road and find somebody else. I never thought Michigan would stoop to that, to try and get a guy to go on a sideline to that level of intensity of whatever was going on with Michigan. I never thought Michigan would do that, would have that type of stuff associated with them. That's just like everybody else. It's not ethically great. It's not the moral compass. You did what you needed to do to win. And I get it. That's the nature of big time sports. That's the nature of narcissism. That's what all that heat, when there's millions and billions and trillions of dollars, when your name is Jim Harbaugh and you're associated with Michigan and you can't cut it, you're losing to Mel Tucker and your fan base is loud, you realize it's time to switch it up. Now, that's a different story. I don't, if that's the world you're in. Now, I'm not in that world, but could I, see myself, if I was in that world and there's people willing to do these things, would I be willing to do it? I would entertain it, because winning is when you win. And the
this is insane. This is insane.
Now, the problem
you're contradicting what you said 6 months ago when Michigan got caught cheating.
No, Michigan. Now, you
said you would never.
Let me finish.
Your integrity. You would never give up your integrity to cheat just to win. Word for word. I'll go clip it.
Let me finish. Now, I said I would entertain it. Now, I would not then feel like, if I was the head coach of Michigan State, I feel like I'd want to be loyal. I want to be the guy that's there for 35 years. I want to be somebody. So in the end, while I would entertain it, while I may not publicly think that it's the worst thing possible, I could not do it. I could not live with myself if I did something like that. Now, I believe Michigan should have been like me, not go down that road. I think what Michigan did was wrong. I think what Michigan State is doing is wrong. I think what Pete Carroll did was wrong. I understand it. I don't condone it. In the end, we talk about it. We understand it's there. You walk up to that line, and some people have that decision to make. And who's to say that if someone says, "Hey, Doc, here's $100,000, say this," I may say it, but I have not been put in that position, so I can sit back and play the moral compass and say, I think Michigan in the end, and now Michigan State has gone right down that road too, but that already happened when we got the phone guy. You hired Mel Tucker, and I mean, once you hire a guy that's willing to do that kind of stuff, you kind of assume that he's doing some sleazy stuff. But in the end, when you take a step back, I do not believe that Michigan can call themselves the leaders and the best. They cheat like everybody else. They have besmirched the integrity of that program. Now everybody looks at them like, you're willing to go down a sleazy road to try and meet your goals. Jim Harbaugh is besmirched.
Man,
he's
Doc,
besmirched.
hold on. Time out. Hold on. You just had like 10 minutes. You can't, like, you're turning this thing back on Michigan again today. Michigan wasn't the one that got the hammer from the NCAA today. It was you. Like, you guys did. Why do you keep bringing this back? Like, I understand if you want to compare a little bit, but like your last 10 minutes is like, we don't, like, when Michigan got hit 6 months ago or whatever it was, and you came on the show, your main point was, I would never mess up my integrity or put my integrity out there, and I would never cheat. But then you said here, you're like, I would do it to win if I had to. Like,
no.
You say that you were like, I would do what Michigan State did to win.
Again, you're doing what fans on X do, Booner. Open up your
why?
ears.
But I'm saying, why all of a sudden now that Michigan State got caught, why 6 months later is your mindset changed on it all of a sudden? Why aren't you being consistent?
I just explained it. Nothing's changed. Cheating is wrong. Now,
but 6 months ago, whether you said today you would do it, maybe 6 months ago you said you would never do it like Michigan people did because you have integrity. And now that Michigan State got caught, but now the Michigan State, no, you didn't. You said you literally, there's a clip of you being like, I would do it.
And I just contemplated what I just told you.
Contemplated or not? 6 months ago when Michigan got hit, you said you never would. Now you're contemplating it because Michigan State got caught cheating?
No. The reason why, now let me go through your points one by one. All
right, let's go one by one.
Michigan is the punishments. I wanted Michigan State, if they were going to cheat, to copy the ones that did it the right way in terms of how you get away with it. I don't want Michigan State getting hammered and 14 wins taken away. Michigan State got the worst penalty. Michigan State showed up to court with the public defender and got 5 years in jail. Michigan got 6 months suspended probation. That's why I'm bringing up Michigan.
Because, by the way, real quick, it's because there are two different, they did two different things. The Michigan State played players that were ineligible. That by NCAA bylaw, that is instant vacated wins. That's why that happened the way it did. That's why at SVSU that happened. That's why here it's happened. Michigan didn't play players that were ineligible. That's the difference.
His name would be Blake Corum, who has an association with the guy that is named.
Was he ineligible? Was it proven he was ineligible?
I probably, if someone did.
Probably, but it wasn't proven to the NCAA. Come on, dude. They did a whole year of investigating. This is where, like, listen, Doc, if you came in here. Hold on. He didn't get.
To get it erased. We do not.
But Doc, one, he did not get, he did not get, seem like whatever you wanted the word, that he's ineligible. He was eligible. You guys played ineligible players, and the NCAA rules that is instantly vacated wins. That's the rules. What happened with Michigan, I will admit, not good. It was probably worse than what you guys did, some compliance stuff. But it's not in the rule book. They can't vacate the wins because they didn't play any ineligible players. Like it's a fact. Like it's not like we're making things up. You're trying to be like, we got the bigger punishment. You got the punishment you're getting for vacating for playing ineligible players. You're acting like you guys are the first team in NCAA history. Hold on. Let me finish. You're acting like you're the first team in NCAA history that's played ineligible players and vacated wins. You're not. Literally, Division II, SVSU, 600 wins vacated or 300 wins vacated because of ineligible players from 2015 to 2018. You're not even the first team in the state in the last 15 years that have had that. Stop. Like the thing is, it's like, if you're a Michigan State fan, just be like, okay, yeah, we screwed up, 14 wins, it's done. But why would be like, why didn't Michigan get this? They're two different rules that were broken.
Listen,
different rules that were broken. Okay. Two different laws.
What I'm saying is, if this violation happened in 2023, we're
same thing would have happened.
I think what I'm saying is, Michigan State should have enacted a defense plan similar to delay and deny and say what? No,
that's fine. But why are you trying to compare it to Michigan?
Because Michigan did the same thing.
But why are you trying to say we should have gotten hit with something?
If Michigan commits a situation and they have multiple years to wait before they deal with it, everybody's already gone, all the stuff happens, and they get basically a slap on the wrist. I feel like if Michigan State would have taken a similar tack, not self-reported, make someone find it out, handle it the exact same way, I feel like if they were advised not to be so gung-ho on reporting it,
that's on you guys then, man. You can't sit here and put Michigan in that.
Fine. You don't deal with nothing. I feel like the reason why we bring up Michigan is they should have copied Michigan in the way they responded, in my humble opinion. And I feel like they might have gotten a lighter situation in their situation that happened. They walked in and were like, nah, I'm guilty.
You bringing it up though.
I'm gonna hold off, and I'm not gonna give any information, and then I'm gonna appeal it, and then I'm gonna take back the appeal. They stalled it, and waited. Michigan State should have copied that exact same strategy, in my opinion.
That's not why you brought Michigan up. You brought Michigan up to say we should have got hit. We're not the leaders and the best. You tried to take Michigan down with you today. But what's that have to do with your guys' punishment today? Has nothing to do. You got Michigan State. You're trying to deflect. No, Doc. You're trying to deflect.
As a State fan, wouldn't I want
what you guys did? You guys did something different, and you want the same punishment for doing a different
punishment. We could have got the exact same punishment.
Doc, you did something different. You didn't have the same. It's different.
The same punishment. The NCAA is.
This is where it's like you're one of the smartest guys I know, Doc. You do a great job at your job. You're one of the smartest guys I know. You do a great job at your job. You're really good in the other positions you do. This is one of the dumbest things you've ever said in your life.
We gotta get to mailbag.
I love you, Doc. I love you, and I love you.
If you see somebody that gets a suspended sentence and you do something quite,
you're like saying someone that murders someone should get the same punishment as someone that robs a bank.
All we want is the same.
It's two different things.
The same.
Laws that are broken.
Same punishment as Michigan got. That's all. The same.
Two different laws that are broken. They're not.
Like we could have did it. We could have did it.
They're two different laws that were broken.
We could have got the same punishment.
That's how I know that Michigan owns Michigan State right now is because you guys get hit with the penalty of a different law that was broken, and you instantly your first thought is, well, what about Michigan? Instead of actually like head on being like, yeah, we screwed up. The first thought you guys all have is Michigan didn't get this. I mean, just leave out.
My first thought is I wish we would have got the same sentence. That's it. And
it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing as when we got hit with the loudest people in the building was Michigan State fans.
Michigan State didn't play it right. They just walked in and were like, I'm guilty.
Yeah, so don't bring up Michigan. So don't bring Michigan into it.
Out. They appealed and lied and appealed.
That's why we're the leaders and the best, and you guys aren't.
I bet you if Michigan State, under my leadership, we would have got the same punishment as Michigan.
No, you wouldn't have because it's a different law. You broke a different law.
I would be like, we're doing what they did. We're gonna do. We wouldn't be talking about it today. No. We'd be talking about it in 2028.
No, I know for a fact you wouldn't because you broke a different rule. It's a completely different rule. There's different punishments for different rules.
We're gonna address it in 2028. In my.
All right, you know what? It's time to get to middle.
I love the doc. Sorry, I got heated.
I love you too. I want the same.
It is fun though. It is fun going. You know, same punishment. I mean, hey. If that happened with Michigan State, if they get it declined somehow and they fought it off, I would love for SVSU to go back and we get our championships back.
By the way, shout out to Manta helping me sleep, sponsor the show here through this very intense debate. All right, let's get to, of course, some mailbag questions. We'll start us off. Getaway Juan.
Doc talked about Michigan for his whole mailbag segment. He's got 2 minutes left.
No.
Nice.
Hey, Juan says, how does Shep even prepare for this Eagles offense with their inconsistencies, Doc?
No doubt about it. You stop the run, you stop Saquon, you stop A.J. Brown, and I think that they just play their game. I think that Jack Campbell's doing some great things. It's going to be a situation in which get off the field on third down, keep them in third, first and second down, keep them in manageable situations, and make sure that they don't get the explosives. I feel like if you keep away the explosives, no momentum, I think you're going to get enough pressure on Jalen Hurts to do some things similar like you did to Lamar Jackson. Similar game plan.
Jay Hart says, Doc Mailbag, we need some Pistons talk. 8 straight W's.
Absolutely. Cade's a superstar. He's an upstanding citizen, has integrity, unlike the Wolverines, and he's a good dude, and he's leading the team as he should.
Nick P, Mailbag Doc, maybe ask how close is TA to clear concussion protocol? Where's he at? How is he close to doing individual drills?
Yeah, look, I think you take your time with it. It's different. Everyone's been different. Different players have been coming back the same game, the same week. I think that he's still in concussion protocol today. I would think that they take it easy with him, and we'll know more by Friday. But you take it ultra easy on a guy that deals with something like that. You don't want to have any recurrence of that. So you take it ultra easy. He didn't practice today. We'll find out more tomorrow if he practices, and we'll get some more information. But as of now, he's still in the concussion protocol. And he talked about it on the podcast, but says he feels okay, but no updates. So I lean toward being ultra cautious.
And then Chief IT Hip says, Mailbag, given its incredible start by the Pistons and all the depth on this team, will Trajan Langdon finally be the GM to take the big swing at the deadline?
Oh, what are you guys talking about? Chief, I think you agree with me and be aggressive. I hope they do go out there and shape a lineup. I'm always of the opinion you go and you try and add depth. This is a nice team, man. And you can get more shooters. Absolutely. I do think that Trajan Langdon has the ability to do that. And but this year it might be just Jaden Ivey might be the guy that comes back and lights it up. So we'll see when he comes back how that takes shape. So I want to see that first before we start talking about trades. But absolutely, Chief, my man, I think that there's opportunities to improve this team in different spots.
Yeah, Doc, you know what? We appreciate the hell out of you, Doc. You keep crushing, man. We'll see you next week. Are you
be careful out there, Doc.
No. I'm
cheat.
not actually. I decided, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I went out to Baltimore. I got my fill. I like, if it wasn't Sunday night, it is a little bit exhausting. I'm not, listen, the big man upstairs looks out for me. I'm not into this like flying delay issue with the government shutdown and all those flights that got canceled from those coming back. I'm not into all that. I said, you know what? I like it. I'm going to actually watch the game with my nephew, type there, hang out with him in the middays, watch the slate of the games there. I like my flow the way I do it, and it's all good. And listen, Booner, I know I beat you soundly, but this one was closer. This one was like 10-9.5. The whole 10-9.5. You did really well.
About, dude?
You did really well to defend Michigan.
We're not going back into this. Can I ask you a question, Doc? Mailbag, Doc.
10-9.5.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Doc,
can I ask you a question?
10-9.5.
Can I ask you a question? And let's just move on from that because that'll go nowhere. Whenever there's an away game and we do a show, we have a couple actually we're booked to do some shows at DraftKings and then a brewery. Can we get the Doc to come watch a game and just hang out with the boys? And I know you have some things you got to do, but maybe hop on pregame, postgame, live in person.
Pregame is possible. Maybe there's one game. Maybe you know what? Maybe the Giants game's at home. Maybe in the December, it's very possible. I do have responsibilities to type, but I could pass off one game to Vito and figure that out. It's very possible I put on the headset and come down and hang out with you guys, maybe pregame or a live.
We could give you a couple games that we're going to be at a bar or restaurant. Okay. And you could pick which ones you want to go to because we're going to have a couple here in the next.
I'll have the DLC out there. If you're grinding, Doc, we understand. We like the DLC appearance.
No, thank you for the invite. Listen, and it can be proven that Booner's a Michigan guy. I'm a State guy. We can yell and debate and have these ferocious conversations. But in the end, the reason why we are upstanding citizens is we maintain our integrity when it's all said and done, and that's why we're successful. Nobody looks at us like the way people look at Michigan State and Michigan at this very moment.
There you go. Well, we appreciate that, you, Doc. You guys can check them out, Detroit Lions at SI.
I love you, Doc.
We'll see you.
Oh, he's gone. He just left.
The DOC, what do you think? He dominated you, Boone, he said.
No, there's no way. I mean, the whole chat, literally, besides some Michigan State fans, was like, what is happening right now? I
love that, man, dude.
I think that was – I've gone to battle with Doc 3 times. I've significantly in the chat. 2 of the 3 of the times the chat's like Booner dominated the Doc, and then the Doc will go on after and be like, I won that 10-8, 10-9. There he is right there. It's so funny. I've always said this, and actually me and you have said this, when you have to like go out of your way and say yourself, hey, I won 10-9.5, you probably lost. When you're trying to like push it. Remember that one time the comment section after the show was just all Booner won and the Doc was in there just battling the whole time.
Hey, the Doc, he's I love watching that. And that man can debate. He loves debating.
He loves it.
Hey, we got about 4 or 5 minutes left. Yeah, can I play the Scott Boras video?
Yeah, we can go ahead, man. And as well, drop some mailbag questions too if you guys have
Scott
it.
Boras today discussing
this is so interesting.
Cool extension.
With the Tigers, do you anticipate that they'll keep Scuba instead of trading him?
This guy's doctor.
All we know is that the fans in Detroit want the Tigers to build a Tarek Barrack. They Little Caesars running around town saying "Sai." So it's a kind of thing where he's built a base. Obviously, everywhere they go, they know it's Scooble Day. They understand that organization is substantially different if he's not there. And you know, when you're in these situations and you go through it, all we know is that we hear mostly from the fans, and the player hears from the fans, and it's kind of like it should be Scooby done, right? And if not, I think the fans would certainly think it's a Detroit doink if they don't.
Have they approached you about?
All right. He also talks in that video. They have
done.
A Scooby don't. What do you say? A Scooby.
Scooby done. It should be a
and
Scooby done.
Detroit doink. What do you say? It'll be a Detroit doink. I don't know. I don't know what the hell, Scott. I don't know who the hell.
Bro, what? This comment from Doc? What is he talking about, bro? I mean, what are we talking about? This guy knows he lost, dude. He's trying everything right now. Where did that come from? Was he battling with someone in the chat?
Doc says, I went to state 97 to 2001. Everyone smoked a ton of weed, lots of sex, and drank.
What does that have to do with anything? That man just dropped the random. Unless there's something I'm missing.
I mean, all of a sudden, the Doc's just talking about his like MSU orgies.
He says that, and then he just follows it with Michigan has no integrity. What's that have to do with the? What are we talking? This guy has no clue what he's doing. Are we sure the Doc doesn't have like dementia or something?
I believe the Doc is saying that.
Yeah, Trevor Barrett said Doc is crashing out. I think he might be.
Wow. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, this guy's having orgies.
And by the way, too, like I want to say this too, like Jesse Adams put in there, like, who cares about the cheating? I'm kind of right there with Jesse. I know Jesse's like I said the hammer earlier. Like I really don't like again what Jesse said. It's 14 games. Like it's really not that big of a deal. Like that's my issue today. Was just like State fans were like mad, being like, why didn't Michigan get this? It's like who cares? Like you guys didn't lose anything. You know what I mean? Like
was this in
tonight?
Chicago?
No, it was in Detroit. Detroit put up on the scoreboard. It was kind of funny. I saw the video. They put up a video of or a picture of Ben Johnson, and then the crowd booed, and then they put a picture of Detroit style pizza, and then everyone's like, yeah. And then they put Chicago pizza, and then everyone was like, boo. It was funny. I think Kool-Aid tweet. I saw Kool-Aid tweeted out.
That is hilarious. I did not even see that. Austin says mailbag. Who won the argument? Well,
you're the mediator. I mean, you can make the.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. There's just so much in there. I mean, you guys were yelling at each other for 10 minutes. I mean, it was I like watching you guys yell at each other. It's fun. I don't to say who won the argument. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I'm not. I really don't care, to be honest.
I mean, the Doc was just. I mean, he was battling demons, man. I mean, he's fighting off. Like you're bringing up old things he said. He's just fighting.
It is crazy that the Doc. Like, what are the chances 6 months ago Michigan has this whole situation? The Doc comes in and was like, "I would never like if my team ever cheated, I would disown them." Like, essentially, just being like. Taking the road where he was like Michigan State would never, and then 6 months later they get vacated wins and he put on probation, and then he comes in and did he not at one point? He literally was like, if someone approached me to cheat, he was like, I would think about it. What? And then 6 months ago he was like, I have integrity. This makes no sense, which I respect it. I mean, switching, playing both sides, good for him.
Shout out to Trevor. Jeff, you're a loser.
Trevor, man. He did say, look, he said Boone killed it. Jeff, way to have your boys back. I did actually dominate Doc, and you just are like, nah, I don't know. Jeff does that to me sometimes.
No. I'm gonna be honest. It's not even about. I mean, I just wasn't.
It's okay. You do that. I'll get in an argument with Klotz. You'll be like, Klotz has got it.
No,
and then when I'm right, you'll be like, yeah, I don't know.
That's not true. That in this, I didn't listen to 95% of it. So I don't have an opinion. I didn't listen to most of it. So I don't know who won.
So what about the 5% you listened to? What'd you think?
You won.
That's good. I wish I could tap you up right now.
So this guy, I mean, it's like I mean, this dude, I don't.
See, I like this is good from Jesse. Usually, me and Jesse disagree on a lot of things. I'm with him. Like NCAA is a joke. Like, yeah, Michigan cheated. We did get a natty out of it. Michigan State cheated. I wouldn't say like fully cheated, but they played ineligible players, whether they meant to or not. Happens. Like they took their penalty. All penalties are different. It's just like in the real world. Different rules you break have different penalties, right? The penalty for playing ineligible players is vacate wins. The penalty for the Lions is, or the Lions, sorry. The penalty for the Michigan, no one's ever seen that before. They couldn't vacate wins because they didn't play ineligible players. We got what we got. You guys got what you got. Who cares? Everyone cheats. Take your punishment, move on. But stop, if I'm the doc, like stop comping yourself to Michigan. Like just take it head on, man. What's crazy about it, Jeff, is like, one, who's the most people right now talking about Michigan today when this Michigan State thing drops? Who is it? What fan base?
Michigan State.
And all they do, instead of going head on with this punishment, what are they doing? What are they doing?
It's a lot of it's making excuses or coming at
and they're talking about what school with it.
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah.
And then 6 months ago, when Michigan State had nothing to do with it, what fan base talked most about the Michigan punishment?
Michigan State.
Okay, so it's just like, just shut up. Like, mind your own business. Get in your own lane. We'll do our lane. It's easy. We'll see you next year and we'll beat you again for like a 5th straight year. It's easy. Like, that's it.
You know
Get
what?
in your own lane. But it's like anything that happens, Michigan State fans have to be involved. Get in your lane. Either they have to be involved or they have to bring Michigan into it. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry.
And we'll stay in our lane and we'll see you tomorrow. Sam
I'm a drama queen, doughboy, Steve, just like you. Learn from the best. Love you guys.
We'll get tomorrow. Sam on tomorrow, but until then, we will catch you all. Peace.